TX Factor is brought to you in association with Martin Lynch & Sons, the world's favourite ham store, and Yaesu Co. Japan.
Hi, I'm Bob McCreadie FTX and welcome to TX Factor, the only UK TV show dedicated to amateur radio. And today I'm operating Maritime Mobile, sort of, because we're on our way to Friedrichshafen to bring you all the excitement and action of Europe's biggest ham radio exhibition. It's called Ham Radio, and it does what it says on the tin. Now, it's a good idea to do what we did. We flew into Zurich Airport, and then we picked up a hire car, which cost us about £135 for the whole weekend. Then a 45-minute drive here to the ferry, which is taking us across Lake Constance to Friedrichshafen, and you've got to agree, this is an amazingly scenic start to our weekend. Don't worry, we're not lost. I don't think so. We're about 17 kilometres from Friedrichshafen, but I'm just getting the lay of the land looking at the map, because over there is Switzerland and where we are now is Germany, and I'm beginning to think we might have made a bit of a mistake because we should have come for longer than just 2 days. It's so beautiful here. We've got sunshine, we've got water, we've got beautiful buildings, and just down here, a lot of the stuff they grow around here that makes this area particularly famous, which we might be persuaded to sample a little bit of later on.
And it's pretty good too. But it's not the only thing that Friedrichshafen's famous for. It's famous for this. It's famous for this. But most of all, it's famous for this.
Ah, there you are.
Oh, hello.
Marshy, what are you doing?
Well, enjoying this wine. It's very good stuff.
How many of these have you had?
Just the one.
Bottles, not glasses.
Yeah, that's it.
Come on, we've got a lot to do.
Don't finish.
Yeah, come on, mate, we've got a lot to see.
Okay.
Ham Radio exhibition has attracted radio amateurs to the shores of Lake Constance for nearly 40 years. It's Europe's biggest rally, with over 15,000 visitors enjoying the displays of participants from 18 countries across the globe. It's quite amazing what you can discover there.
Wow, I don't believe it. A Collins 75S3. That was my first receiver when I was first licensed in Bahrain as A9XCX, later Alpha 92 Charlie X-ray. And I had one of these. They're worth quite a lot of money now, and I lent it to somebody who was getting interested in amateur radio. Guess what? Never saw it again. There's a lot of old stuff, like old radios there. There was an actual teleprinter. Haven't seen one of those.
I saw that clattering away, rolling out all this paper. Well, now here's a bit of gear that you were using back in the day when you were playing records,
Yeah,
Bob.
that's right. When I first started as a DJ, that's exactly what we were using, Mike. It was all right as long as you could get the dog out of the front of the horn.
I think Bob was joking, not quite sure. Anyway, an event of this size takes a lot of organising, and early on the second day, Mike caught up with the show director Petra Rathgeber to see how things were going.
So I'm quite happy now at the moment because everything is fixed and it started yesterday. And last year we had about 15,000 attendees.
Do you think any of the manufacturers are going to be introducing a new bit of equipment here?
Yes, we have from all the exhibitors, we have 31 new highlights which they will present here at Ham Radio.
So yes. Everybody seems to be happy as well. I'm going to let you get back to doing your organising because you've still got things to do all weekend.
Thanks very much.
Then you could go like this, right?
On Sunday.
Breathe a sigh of relief.
Yes.
And probably start organising for next year too, right?
Yes, we will start right now.
All right, Petra, thanks for talking to us.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Great to meet you.
The toughest thing for our special Friedrichshafen edition of TX Factor is not what to film, it's what not to film. There is so much stuff here, and we're just in the flea market at the moment. So many things have caught our eye. But then I saw that the National Museum of Computing from the UK are here, and they've got some very interesting machines. Hello, who are you?
I'm John Alexander from Leicester.
So what are you doing here at Friedrichshafen?
This is my annual pilgrimage in search of code and cipher systems, parts and networking.
And you're representing the National Museum of Computing?
Very pleased to.
Tell us about this machine you've got in your hands here.
Okay. I was minding my own business in Italy a week ago when a guy kind of went, would you like to buy an Enigma machine? And yeah, I have two at home, but this one I saw and I was just so excited because this is one of the oh so rare models of Enigma. This is an Ertelwerk Enigma designed for a printer with an Anschluss for a connector. So I made an offer and he thought about it, and this was delivered to me yesterday.
You've got that delighted gleam of the collector in your eye as you hold it in your hands there.
Yeah. This is the lockdown for the lid, and inside 3 beautiful Enigma rotors, absolutely perfect, pristine and original.
Wow.
This is the reflector, 3 wheels, entry wheel, lamp board, keyboard. There should be plugs in the front board there, but I have a full set waiting at home. My wife doesn't mind. She says he doesn't drink, he doesn't chase women, he's got to spend his money on something.
You can chase women carrying that. It's a bit heavy, isn't it?
It is.
What about the other machine you've got on the bench here?
This is a 1942 model. That year's update on the Hagelin pinwheel design, but with an electric motor, a keyboard. Now it looks as though it was made yesterday. It's beautiful condition, absolutely excellent. It needs a little cleaning on the mechanism and some lubrication, but it's perfect. I'm going to give you something now which is so annoying to me. There was a whole group of ladies at Bletchley Park who worked on these Hagelin type machines. They called themselves very proudly the Hags because they worked on Hagelin machines. They were in Hut 4 producing plain text messages derived from Italian Navy intercepts. So when things were happening in the Mediterranean, it was not necessarily Enigma or Lorentz that was producing the intelligence, but Hagelin machines.
So like so many of these things, it's a much bigger story.
There is so much to tell, and NMOC is my place. And I'm going to be holding one day a month from here on in where I'll take a working cipher machine in and we can play codes and ciphers.
Fantastic. Thank you for talking to us.
Pleasure. Thank you for stopping by.
You know what, at Friedrichshafen, it's not just about radio equipment. We've come across lots of gear that I used to use back in the day in my job as a mastering engineer recording, like this tape machine here with an old reel-to-reel spinning round, an old Revox. We've gone from one of those things now to one of these things, digi-voice recorders. Come a long way since then.
At Friedrichshafen, so much to see, so little time, but we've managed to find our way to the Yaesu stand, and I'm with Paul Bigwood. Hi Paul.
Hello.
Busy show for you.
It is indeed a very busy show. This show is a very critical show to Yaesu, and I think to most manufacturers. We consider Friedrichshafen to be the Dayton of Europe. So we introduce new products, we listen to what our customers say, our dealers, and obviously it's very important to meet the customers and show them the new products.
The amateur radio community really want to be able to know who it is that makes their gear. Indeed. And give their feedback and
Absolutely.
Say, why doesn't it do this? Why doesn't it do that?
It's a very important part of that process here is to actually listen to what they say and collate that and feed it back to engineering in terms of improvements. And before you arrived, I was in a conversation you probably saw with some Italian amateurs who are very keen on this new product, and already they have identified some things that we need to look at and would consider in terms of future releases of the software. So it's an evolving thing all the time, and getting that feedback is very important to us.
I suppose the only disappointment for you as a radio amateur is you can't get round the show and see everything else.
I managed to sneak away a little bit yesterday, but not as long as I'd want to now.
Now, you said that one of the great things about the show is the opportunity to show off new products. Yes. What's your big new product for this year?
Our big new product is part of our digital solution. We've introduced a different form of digital radio for the amateurs. We believe it has some advantages over some of the competition. Last year we introduced the FT1D handheld and the FTM400, which are the terminal part of the infrastructure, and what we brought today is the DR1, which is the infrastructure, the repeater. Now key thing for us on this particular repeater is that in our view, it's a drop-in replacement for analog repeaters. So all the existing repeaters that we have in the UK and in Europe that are analog FM repeaters, we would see this repeater dropping straight into it as a replacement. This means that those users that are already using analog FM repeaters can continue to use it because it can work in both analog and in digital, and it can automatically choose between the two. So our strategy is that if you have a repeater that you've had for some time in your group, you get together and you buy a new one and you just drop it in. All the filters and all that aerials, they all exactly the same. The repeater logic controller you use can probably be connected to the back of this. It has a basic controller built into it, but it will probably, you could use some of the functions that you've got in your new one. So you start off exactly the same, no different. The users wouldn't even know there was any difference maybe. They might get a slightly better audio. And then as they get more used to it and people get the digital stuff, you can then switch it over and they can experiment. But because it's automatically chooses, if an FM user comes on, it'll go into FM. If a digital user comes on, it'll go to digital.
This is a really big step forward because when you're driving around with your radio on scan, like I do, and then it keeps hitting a digital repeater that you can't do anything with, you just lock that out and forget it.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't encourage you to get into digital. But if your local repeater is doing both, you're going to hear your local amateurs talking about it.
Well, that's the other thing, of course, that in this repeater you can also configure the output to be always FM, and the input can be either FM or digital. So if you've got a digital user transmitting digital into the repeater, it comes out as analog FM, so the FM users can use it.
Is it a proprietary system?
Yes, it is a proprietary system, but we do publish the meaning of all the bits and pieces. We don't show you the source code, but part of the experimentation is that the users, radio amateurs, who are experimenters and tinkers, and they can go write their software and try it.
One of the great things of being a radio amateur is to tinker.
Yes, you can tinker in a different way. You can experiment by sending different files. The basic units have the capability of sending pictures, for example, and the mobile and the handheld have a GPS built in. So you can send a picture which includes the position of where that picture was taken. You can immediately think of uses for that under RayNet and those kind of organizations, or rally organizers where they need to use communication. They get more information. You can plot it. You can plot this using the data that's coming across it. It's got APRS built in, so people who like APRS can do it straight away out of the box. So the scope of the experimentation is there for whatever they want to do.
And it does what it says on the tin, system fusion. That means it can be all things to
all people, exactly. That's a very good thing, exactly, yes.
And we'll be back on the Yaesu stand with Mike and our free-to-enter competition to win a Yaesu handheld. And that's coming up next on TX Factor. Get the power of a super antenna. So many operators choose Super Antenna's MP1 Super Stick because it's reliable, powerful, compact and versatile. The Super Stick covers the entire range of ham, shortwave and marine bands and all frequencies in between. Simply adjust the Super Slider to the desired frequency and start transmitting with SWR at 1.5 to 1 or better with no analyzer or tuner needed. The Super Stick packs down to fit your go bag or boot and instantly expands to full size for portable, de-expedition, garden, flat or balcony operating. Super Antenna's precision-engineered construction and high Q coil make it the perfect companion for QRP or high-power transceivers. And now the world's #1 portable vertical just got even better with the addition of a collapsible tripod, a go bag and an SWR setting ruler. See the Martin Lynch & Sons website for details of the Super Stick Special Package MP1 DLX and get the power of a super antenna.
So we're back on the Yaesu stand at Friedrichshafen because it's competition time right now on TX Factor, and I'm here with Paul from Yaesu G3WYW, who's going to take us through the radio that we're going to be giving away a little bit later on the program. What have we got here, Paul?
Hello, Mike. This is the FT-60, which is a reliable, basic dual-band handheld transceiver, 5 watts output, and has a wide frequency coverage. Covers all the normal frequencies that you would expect for a repeater on 277s with all the CTCSS and DCS signaling, and also of course has a 1750 Hertz tone function for access to those repeaters that don't use CTCSS. All the other accessories exist for it, things like external battery cases for AA dry cells and external microphones and headphones and things like that for it.
All right, Paul, thanks. That is a fantastic feature-packed radio. Fancy winning one of these? Here's your competition question. In episode 2 of TX Factor, we reviewed a Yaesu radio. Which model was it we reviewed? We just need the simple answer to that question, and you can send us the answer to that question by emailing us at info@txfactor.co.uk. And all the T's and C's are on the website for you to check out as well, and we'll tell you exactly when we announce the competition winner.
The great thing about an event like Ham Radio here at Friedrichshafen is it's not just about seeing the gear, but it's also a great social event. It's about meeting up with people, and guess who we've just bumped into? Don Field, the relatively new editor of Practical Wireless. How long have you been in the job now, Don?
9 issues under my belt now,
Oh
Bob.
gosh, so not that new anymore.
Not that new, no.
How does it feel to you?
Well, so far so good. The feedback has been good. It's been a steep learning curve, I have to tell you.
So nice to perhaps get away from the office for a moment or two and come to this show for a little bit of R&R stroke work. It's a combination.
Bit of both. I love coming here. I've been to Friedrichshafen many times now, and I see old friends from all over the world, of course. There's a lot of my friends come over from the States for this one, and obviously from the rest of Europe. But yes, I can't forget nowadays that I'm wearing my PW hat.
For you, Don, as a DXer, everybody knows you as a DXer and contester. It must be great for you to come and actually, say hello to some of the people that you know through radio.
As you say, DXing or contesting, suddenly you can put a face to them, and it's fantastic.
How many times have you been to the show before then, Don?
It's probably about 10 or 12 now, yeah.
Has it changed a lot over the 10 years?
It has changed quite a lot. It was very much a German show to start with one or two of the presentations in English. Now it is truly an international event. What changed it, I think, was the lowering of the Iron Curtain. You saw all the Eastern Europeans coming over. Truckloads of Russian military kit.
Really?
Absolutely fantastic.
So you could have bought a tank if you come here a few years ago.
Oh, you could certainly have bought a tank. Yeah, no problem at all. But what it's made it into is the European event rather than the German event. When I'm wearing my PW hat, I see vendors that you don't see in the UK, but of course you can buy their kit online now, so I'm very interested to see what they have.
And it gives you, I suppose, as editor, a real overview of what's going on in the wider world of amateur radio rather than just the UK world.
Yes, I mean, I'm trying with Practical Wireless to cover not only all the aspects of the hobby, but what's going on internationally within the hobby. And thank goodness there's a lot going on. Again, if I look at the Eastern Bloc, some of the younger people are still as enthusiastic about amateur radio as we were 20 years ago, and that's where I see a lot of the future.
Yeah, I have noticed that here at Friedrichshafen there are a lot of younger radio amateurs, aren't there?
Did you see, Bob, the construction area,
no,
the build-a-thon?
Yeah,
lots of youngsters building things and lots of enthusiasm. It's fantastic.
For you, Don, so far then, I know this is a tough call, but what would you say has been the highlight of the show for you?
Oh dear,
it's hard to choose.
That is really a tricky one. Yes, as I say, I mean it's the social side of it. Seeing some new products, which we'll cover in Practical Wireless. Watch this space, and we'll do a report on it. But no, I mean it's just the general feel of the place. Amateur radio isn't just about sitting in a shack and talking to people. It's getting out, going to your local club, but coming to things like this as well, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I don't know about you, Don, but I think we've been sitting down long enough.
I think that's true. It's time to get back on our feet and
This is a bit like a walking holiday, this, but we're going to do a bit more
There's
walking.
miles. There's 3 or 4 exhibition halls, and each of them is full of fascinating stuff, isn't it?
Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Not
Look forward to reading about it in PW.
My pleasure.
Always good when you're at Friedrichshafen, you never know who you're going to bump into next. And I've got some showbiz royalty here all the way from the USA. This is Bob from the ARRL. Hi, Bob.
Hi, good to meet you.
So you've made it over to Friedrichshafen for the weekend.
I have.
Why is the ARRL here?
Absolutely. The League has been attending Friedrichshafen Ham Radio for many years, largely to support our DXCC and other ARRL contest and award programs, but also because we have so many members in Europe these days. These days we have probably 10,000 or so international members, a good number of them who are in Europe.
So it's well worthwhile you coming to Friedrichshafen?
Absolutely, and it's just great fun. Being in this exhibition hall is much like being in a melting pot with all the different societies all gathered together. And there's a lot of networking going on.
All right, Bob, well, it's been great talking to you at the exhibition. Just before we go, though, have you been getting on with the German food and the German beer?
The food and the beer have been fantastic. I actually have German roots here in Germany and Switzerland, so I have eaten my share of food while I've been here. Put on a couple of pounds and had my share of beer as well.
Listen, have a safe trip back to the States.
Thank you.
And maybe we'll bump into you at Dayton.
We'll see you at Dayton Hamvention 2015.
Thanks, Bob. Fantastic.
And we bumped into a gentleman who's carrying an award, so we've got to find out more about this. Who are you, sir?
Oh, my name is Lou, N2TU. Last name is Dietrich. I am German.
Right,
Yeah.
So where have you come from to be here?
Came from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Tell us about this award.
This award is for the DX Expedition of the Year. And last year I organized a group to go to Wake Island in the Pacific. And 11 other folk plus myself went out there. And we had 100,000 contacts around the world. And it was a very rare island to activate. One of the primary goals I had was to work as many Europeans as possible. And apparently we did a good job because the GDXF recognized us as the DXpedition of the Year.
That's amazing. That's the German DX Foundation giving you this award, but you didn't know when you came here you were going to get it.
No idea. I had no idea we were going to get the GDXF. We did get another award as the 2013 DXpedition of the Year award from DX World. And I was very proud of that. I am ecstatic now that two have given us a DXpedition of the Year award, which is, to me, amazing.
Well, congratulations, and I'd just like to say on behalf of all the European amateurs, as one of those who tried to work here, we know how much cost, effort goes into putting these DXpeditions together. Thank you very much indeed.
Oh, thank you very much, and thank you on behalf of my team.
Well, congratulations, Lou and the team. And well done to Bob for spotting probably the most expensive transceiver ever. And that's coming up next. This is your invitation to the future from Yaesu. The new Yaesu System Fusion is the future of repeaters. We know FM has substantial advantages over digital modulation, such as lower battery drain and better range, but digital modulation offers the advantage of the exchange of more complex information. Now, you don't have to choose. The new Yaesu System Fusion can do both as a drop-in replacement for an existing repeater. Offering 3 C4 FM digital modes and conventional FM, this amazing system can automatically switch modes according to the input modulation. It can even be set to allow intercommunication between digital and FM users. Contact your dealer now for full information. Yaesu System Fusion is available throughout Europe from authorized Yaesu dealers. Check the Martin Lynch & Sons website for special cashback deals with as much as £400 cashback on the superb DR1 XE repeater. Yaesu System Fusion. Welcome to the future.
When you're at a show like this where there is so much to see, you're wandering up and down the aisles and then suddenly something catches your eyes and you just go, wow, which this transceiver did for me. Take a look at this beauty. This is the Hilberling PT8000A and it doesn't look like any other transceiver you've ever seen before. I have a feeling that this must be a very high-end radio. To find out, on the stand here is the managing director of Hilberling, Jan. Now this isn't made in quantity like ICOM, Kenwood, Yaesu, thousands and thousands of these. So how many of these have you sold, Jan?
We have sold about 70 in this last 3 years.
Just 70 in 3 years, so it's a very special radio for,
yes,
for people who want a very special radio.
Yes, correct.
You're the managing director, but you didn't design the radio.
No, Mr. Hilberling himself designed the radio in the last years.
So what's so special about it in terms of its received performance? Because I think that is pretty incredible, isn't it?
Yes, it's a very high-end performance. Maybe we can talk about the narrow range, dynamic range. Mr. Sherwood in USA tested the radio and we get about 105 dB in 2 kilohertz space, and that's amazing, I think.
That is amazing, and that makes it on the Sherwood tests. If anybody's seen that list of tests, by Sherwood, they reckon that this is the #1 receiver in the world.
Yes, it is the #1 receiver.
So how much is it going to cost me then to buy the radio, according to Sherwood Engineering, that is the #1 receiver in the world?
It costs about 13,300 euros.
13,300? I'll start saving now. Oh, but it is beautiful. I'd really like one of these.
Another great thing about amateur radio is getting younger people involved, and one of the exciting ways to get them to do that is to actually get to make things, like with soldering irons, components and bits and pieces. So on the ground here at Friedrichshafen, they've got a junior construction centre. I'm with Matthias right now, who's going to tell us exactly what we're going to build with our youngster. What have we got here, Matthias?
All right, we're building a little dancing toothbrush robot, which is basically just the head of a toothbrush with a vibration motor and small battery. We just need a toothbrush.
Yep.
And then we got a coin cell here.
Okay.
And a vibration motor here. And some tape.
Okay. And then we're going to turn that into a dancing toothbrush.
Yeah.
This is pretty simple. You up for this, Ben?
Oh, yeah.
Hey! Now, although that wasn't necessarily a radio-related project, this is one of the great ways to get youngsters involved in tech work with amateur radio and to grab them into the hobby as well. Get them making something that's fun that they can then take a little bit further and get into the hobby and play radio like us, because there's nothing better than getting your toys out and making something and getting it to work first time, right, Ben?
Yeah.
Well done.
Of course, it's not all fun at Ham Radio. Some of the folks we met are there in an official capacity, and Mike bumped into the current president of the RSGB, John Gould.
I'm here this year as president, so I've only had a very quick look in there because I've been talking to people and doing various things. No, it's a great place, and when I came, on my own bat in previous years, I'd spend a good day just going through the flea market and take home a whole load of things that probably I don't really need, but I like to have them in the cupboard.
That's what's called coming to an amateur radio rally, though.
Yeah, anyway,
great to see you here. I'm going to let you get back to it because there's lots more stuff you need to cram into your suitcase.
No, I've got to go to a Spectrum meeting next.
Oh, okay. Work.
Work. Yeah.
Nice.
No, some good stuff.
Thank you, John.
We're on the ICOM stand now. The great thing about Friedrichshafen is you can come here to see all the latest developments in radio, like these. No, this radio actually is from 1964. This was ICOM's FD-AM1, an all-transistor 50 megahertz transceiver, no valves at all, and it was one of the big radios that started this company off. And then when you look at this transceiver here, the IC700R solid-state communications receiver, so this is all transistors. I think there might have been the odd tube or two in there. And look at the size of these handies. We get so used now to walking around with our little microscopic handhelds. That one, it's a bit like the old 80s mobile phone, isn't it? You've got a bit of a shoulder dip carrying it round with you. And then moving on here, the IC765. This is a late 1980s transceiver. And you can see, just stylistically, it looks very 80s, doesn't it? But as I said, the great thing about Friedrichshafen is you can see the latest radios. So let's move out onto the ICOM stand and see what they've got on show. I've managed to find Dieter to tell me a little bit about what's happening here on the ICOM stand. This is a really important show for ICOM.
Yeah, of course, it's a very important show for us to have a close contact to our customers, so we don't sell direct to our end users, but we sell it via our dealer network, and we are here to support our dealers as well, give answers to the questions of the customers. So it's very important for us, for ICOM Europe. So every time it's a very interesting show for us.
You've got the IC7100 on show here, yes, which is one of your newer radios. So this is an HF through to UHF all-mode transceiver. Is there a lot of interest in this radio?
Yeah, it's very interesting why we have a new technology with touchscreen usage. So very simple to use, very easy to use. So normally you don't need any instruction manual for that. That example, if you want to change the band, it's quite easy. You touch the screen and you select the band, and immediately is switched to the band as well. You can do the modes. At example SSB, or you see direct the filters or you go to data functionality, so very easy to use, as you see. And of course we have some menus or the setting. You can set all your parameters and you can store this on an SD card, so quite easy to use, as you see.
You've got your HF radio that you can use in the car or as a base station,
yes,
but also a very multi-function UHF and VHF
yes,
radio.
And also, thanks to our designer, they have a very nice functionality when you say on the base station use. So I will show you a little bit a very nice design. So if you use this on the base station, it can move a little bit. So, but we have an extension, so the radio or the front panel cannot move.
Well, this is different because I think, are you the only manufacturer that does that? Because usually it's third-party mounts you have to get to go with these radios.
No, this is our own mounted bracket for this front panel.
Which is very good because you know it will do exactly the job you want it to do, and it's really easy to fit in your car.
Yeah, sure.
At last, a mount that goes with the radio. Dieter, well done.
Thank you very much, and have a nice time on the Ham Radio Show.
Well, what a show it's been. The legs are aching, believe me. We've walked miles, there's been so much to see, and I just wish that we'd had more hours here so we could bring you more hours of what there is here at Friedrichshafen. But panic not, because we'll definitely be here again next year covering more of the show. And of course, in the coming weeks, we'll have more great ham radio programs for you here on TX Factor, the only UK TV show dedicated to amateur radio. Now, there's just one more thing before I go. All I need to do is persuade Mrs. McCreadie that this is the tower I need in our back garden. What do you think the chances are of me getting away with it? I'm sure it's not that expensive. Don't forget, all the show notes for this show and all our previous episodes are at www.txfactor.co.uk. And if you, as an individual or your organisation or your club, are doing anything you think will interest our thousands of viewers around the world, get in touch. I don't think I can afford that.
TX Factor is brought to you in association with Martin Lynch & Sons, the world's favourite ham store, and Yaesu Muse & Co. Japan.